Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Tom Morgan Drum Studio. And today we're back in the Rudimental book, A Sequential Approach to Rudimental Drumming, that you can purchase through callenpublications.com. And you'll need a copy of this book to make sense out of what we're doing here in these videos. We've come to page 29 now, and we're going to introduce the Flam Paradiddle rudiment and also the 7-stroke roll. Both these rudiments are introduced here. So we've done the flam tap, the flam accent, and now the next logical step is the flam paradiddle. If you remember when we did the flam accent, we had to delay the lift one note, and the same thing is true if you've really gotten the flam accent down. The flam paradiddle is not that difficult. All we're doing for the flam paradiddle is adding one more note with the lower hand. And then it alternates. So the sticking is flam left, right, flam right, left. And if you look on page 29, you see the rudiment written there with arrows that show you when you're going to lift your stick right after the second note of the flam paradiddle. So flam left, right, flam right, left. And let me stress again the importance of the position. If we just go and don't think about the position, you heard right there that I got flat flams where both sticks hit at the same time. And that is not the sound we want. We want it to sound like good sounding flams, like we could play when we were just playing flam. So really be particular about the position. Don't ignore it or fluff it off. It's very, very important. Okay, so exercise 1 just is 4 flams, 4 flam paradiddles. So here it is. 2, ready, go. 1. Okay, pretty simple. If we do the second exercise, it's 4 flam taps and 4 flam paradiddles. 2, ready, go. Okay, and be sure that you don't let yourself do this with the flam taps. Okay, lifting after the tap. By the time you play the tap, or by the time you play the flam, you should already be in the new position with flam taps, and then the lower stick plays the tap. Okay, so don't forget that position. That's true of the flam and the flam tap. We're lifting immediately after the flam. Okay, if we go on to 3, we've got the flam accent now, 4 flam accents and 4 flam paradiddles. So that sounds like this. 2, ready, go. Okay, and then number 4 is a really great exercise to practice. 4 flams, 4 flam taps, 4 flam accents, 4 flam paradiddles, which sounds like this. Okay, and you want to try to make the flams all line up. If you did it with a metronome, the flams would all fall on the click, so you get the right subdivision from quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes. All right, so there's the flam paradiddle. Now, if you turn the page over to 30, we now have the 7-stroke roll. And the 7-stroke roll is a little bit tricky because there's actually two different ways that you can play the 7-stroke roll, two different ways it appears in the rudimental literature. And the exercise number 1 shows you that first way, where you're playing 4 16th notes and you're just diddling the last 3 of the group of 4. So it sounds like this. It starts with the left hand and ends with the right when you play the roll. But this exercise is just based on 16th notes. So here's how it works. 2 and ready and go and. Okay, so that takes some practice, but if you do the second exercise, it just alternates between a count of 16ths and then a 7-stroke roll back and forth. So this one sounds like this. 2 and ready and go and. Now you notice I'm putting a slight accent at the end of the rolls, and I do that with all the rolls in rudimental style. That's pretty typical to do that. Line 3 just shows you the shorthand way of writing the 7-stroke roll. So the first measure of number 3 and the second measure of number 3 should sound identical, but there's two different ways they're written. And again, I do that in the book purposely so that you can get used to seeing it both ways, because you will when you play rudimental solos. So 3 is just 7-stroke rolls. Okay. Now, the second way that 7-stroke rolls happen is when they start on the and instead of the e. When I did the ones just now, each of those were starting on 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. They're starting on the E, and they're essentially rolling a dotted 8th note, 3/4 of a count long. But sometimes the 7-stroke roll starts on the and to get all the notes of the 7-stroke roll in, we have to change the foundation or the roll base of the roll from 16th notes to 16th note triplets. So I have to base it this way: 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. So exercise 4 lets you do that, a measure of the 8th and 16th note triplet pattern, and then diddling the 16th notes in the second measure. So ready and go and. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now, having it on the and like that, you've got to play a faster roll. You're cramming more notes into a smaller space. So, you know, that's why you have to base it on a triplet. And I think it sounds pretty cool when you play a 7-stroke roll that way. So the 5th measure is just alternating between the 8th note with the 16th note triplets without diddles, and then the same pattern with diddles. So that sounds like this. Ready, go. And you see I'm still starting the roll with the left hand. Okay, and then the bottom line, the 6th exercise, is just like the 3rd exercise above. I'm just showing you that you can write this two different ways. And notice the second measure of number 6, those look a lot like 5-stroke rolls. The 5-stroke roll shorthand notation looked exactly like this. So how do you know whether it's supposed to be a 7-stroke roll or a 5-stroke roll? Well, in the book, and down there you can see it, there's a little 7 written by those to help you see that that's what it's supposed to be. But also, if the roll starts with a left and ends with a right, it has to be a 7. If it starts with you know, the right and ends with the right, or the left and ends with the left, then it has to be a 5. But typically you're going to see a little 7 or a little 5 written there to make sure that you know, to tell you which one you're supposed to play. So that's just the same thing all the way across that line. Number 6, ready, and go, and 1, and 2, and 4. So we have 2 different ways to do the 7. 1, 8, and 2, 4, 1, or 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Okay? So you got to practice them both ways because you're going to run into them both ways. In fact, if we go on to the next page here, 31, solo 6 now, oddly enough, uses the Flam Paradiddle and the 7-stroke roll. And you'll see the 7-stroke roll in this little solo used both ways. So let me play that for you. Nothing particularly crazy about this other than the new rudiments added, but we do have 2 first and second endings in there. Then I think by now you know how to do that. Also, we start out with a 7-stroke roll as a triplet, and 1. Okay, so that's the way the piece starts, with a pickup into the downbeat there. Okay, so let me play it. 1, 2, 1, and 2. So there you have it, the Flam Paradiddle and the 7-stroke roll, and a solo to practice to work on those, plus exercises. So work on all this stuff, and you know, if you have questions, you can certainly leave them in the comment section. And if you like the video, please like it. And as always, I ask you to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that little bell. And that way, if you click on that, you'll get a notification when we put out a new video. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.